Trudy sitting in for Aaron Rand again this week. Now, if you have kids heading off to university, you might be aware that some institutions have health insurance rolled in to the student fees that students pay on top of their tuition. This is at some places. It can be quite a substantial fee, but it can be actually a money saver if your child needs health care in another jurisdiction. However, there is an issue with the fact that at some places, it's not very clear how to opt out. If, for example, as was our daughter's case when she went into Ontario for her university, she was still covered by my insurance at work. And so she had to find out how to do the opt-out so she didn't have to pay that fee. So here to tell us about a class action lawsuit centered on this automatically enrolled health insurance is class action attorney Joey Zukran of LPC Avocats. Hi, Joey. Thanks for joining us on CJAD.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
What is the argument that you're making about this enrollment that's done automatically as part of the fees attached to tuition at some institutions?
So the legal basis is very simple, surprisingly enough. It's that an insurance company or a broker, or in this case, educational institutions, cannot force students into an insurance contract they haven't consented to in advance. Any contract under law requires the consent of both parties. And here what the broker and Desjardins, so the broker's company called Student Care or ASEC in French, literally forces you into the insurance contract without your knowledge and without your consent. And we advanced this file on behalf of 3 students who were trying to get out of the insurance because they either didn't need it or because they had it or because they didn't know that they were being automatically subscribed to it. The universities and then ASEC in particular gave them a very hard time. And the judge agreed with the students at this stage to say that there is a problem, or there seems to be a real problem with forcing people into an insurance contract they didn't ask for.
Concordia, McGill, are there any other institutions involved in your class action?
So yes, so any institution that deals, it's a bit technical, but we asked the court to include any institution that ASEC or Student Care deals with. And what the judge said in this judgment was that because we didn't sue each and every one of the universities and CEGEPs and other institutions, that they would not be included, even though we felt that they should be, because the common link to all of them are Desjardins and Student Care. So what we did after receiving the judgment on Thursday was filed a new case against all the other institutions and ASEC and Desjardins as well. And we're hoping not to have to serve all the educational institutions, because now that there's a judgment actually telling ASEC and Desjardins that what they did appears to be wrong, we hope to be able to resolve the problem with them in the coming weeks. But we have no news on that front.
How many institutions are we talking?
32 plus Concordia and McGill, who were included in the first one.
Are the other ones CEGEPs?
Yes. So the lead plaintiff, the lead plaintiff in the newest filing is a Dawson student. So it includes CEGEPs. There's Vanier, Dawson, a bunch of others that I don't have off by hand, but they're on our website. Now the situation of Dawson is even more shocking. So this student actually had no clue that she had insurance. She said, "Joey, I'm looking. I know I paid $300 and something in January, but I don't think I had insurance." And lo and behold, as of September 2024, Dawson, through ASEC, or I should say ASEC through Dawson, started charging for insurance. Because the problem is, from what we know and from the evidence Concordia and McGill filed, the universities are not making any money on this. They're just literally a flow-through or a conduit for ASEC and Desjardins to collect the premiums. So surprisingly, if you have any, and I've spoken to a few Dawson students, so I'm sure some of them or their parents may be listening. I was a CJAD listener on the way to Dawson back in my day, but I guess times have changed. So if their parents are listening, we couldn't even go back on the OmniVox portal to locate the tuition statement to see where the fees were. We just looked at ASEC's website, and then where ASEC says we charge the students $186 per semester. So the way this regime makes money is it's actually surprising and kind of offensive is by, there's two ways. When I say this regime, Desjardins and ASEC, or student care, the way they make money is by banking on the fact that most students don't know they have it. So if most students don't know they have it, they won't use it, they won't make claims. And there's a report that came out a few years ago, a very good investigative report by Stéphanie Gromont of La Presse, who found that Desjardins charged $50 million in insurance premiums and only paid out $5 million in claims. Oh. So that's a cash cow of $45 million a year off the back of hardworking Quebec students. And again, the only way this regime works is the students don't know they have it, and then making it virtually impossible to opt out by way of creating arbitrary deadlines that, let's face it, nobody really pays attention to. And the law says you don't have to. Like, there's no requirement or legal basis to say if you don't opt out by October 2nd, you're in. It doesn't exist in Quebec law. And the reason why I can confidently say that the only way this regime works is by this, I guess, tricking or duping or concealing this information from the students and their parents who pay in many cases, is because when the AMF started, and the AMF being the financial regulatory body in Quebec, started investigating the situation a few years ago, Desjardins waved the white flag and said, we're not going to offer the collective insurance anymore. If we don't automatically opt students in, it's not worth it financially for us, we're out. So that put pressure on the AMF to somewhat back off by way of some of the student associations making noise. But ultimately, the Superior Court judge said, I'm not bound by the AMF, I'm bound by the Quebec Civil Code and the Consumer Protection Act, for that matter. And there is a serious problem of the consent not being given by the people who adhere to these insurance policies and authorize the case to move forward.
What are you seeking on behalf of those students who paid?
Very simple. Say we want our money back. Say the students who paid, and I believe in some cases it was more than $200 for the university students. For the CEGEP students, it's $180-something. By the way, $180-something on $200 of tuition. Some people are paying more in insurance than in tuition, which is insane. And so we're asking for the insurance premiums back that were collected unlawfully in our view. We're also asking for punitive damages. That's always a little trickier because the contract is with the universities. And again, I want to go on the record as stating this, and I did say this in open court to the judge. Our goal is not to harm the universities. Our goal is not to cause the universities or the CEGEPs to incur legal fees. But our goal is to get a change of practice and to stop ASEC and student care from this clearly predatory practice of tricking students and forcing them to subscribe to an insurance they don't want. It's actually unreal when you break it down. It seems that there was a system or a practice that was widely accepted for a few years, and then everyone just thought it was okay until, to his credit, our first client who came forward to us in this file brought it to our attention, and we agreed with him and decided to file the case in court. What's
the timeline now?
So, these are class actions. They could take anywhere from a few months to get settled if Desjardins and ASEC and student care want to resolve it quickly and do the right thing and refund the students. They collected the premiums, they held the premiums, they made tens of millions of dollars, so they should give it back, and that's something they can do quickly. Desjardins has much more money than anyone in the room, most likely. And if it's contested, it's something that could go on for years. It could take a few years to resolve. It could take a decade to resolve, unfortunately. The good news is we have, or the defendants have, all of the student information and contact information. So even if it does take a few years to get justice, we will fight the course. And anyone who wants to be kept informed is, of course, more than welcome to send me an email or to sign up on our website.
And the website is what, Joey?
www.lpclex.com.
And how many years back are you going with this claim? When you're asking for refunds, how many semesters back?
So the good news is we filed the case 2 years ago, which suspended prescription, or what's also called the statute of limitations. So the judge authorized the case for anyone who paid since 2019. And that stays pretty much consistent for the rest of time. So the good news is anyone who's paid this since 2019 is automatically included, at least for the Concordia and McGill students, as a matter of the judgment that was rendered on Thursday last. And our view in law is that everybody else is also included, because we filed the new case and the statute of limitation was suspended by the filing of the old case. So long story short, everybody should automatically be included who paid since 2019.
Joey Zukran, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.